Well, if San Diego Wave faced Portland Thorns this Sunday as well in Portland at 12 p.m. for the quarterfinals. Uh, Unlike the MLS, NWSL is a one-game single elimination. San Diego Wave was the sixth seed. Portland Thorns were the third seed, and they had to play away. Uh, I'll pull up the lineup right now, but if you want to give us
Yeah.
just quick thoughts on just
I
what you saw overall.
I think it's probably it's a really obviously it's a big game, it's a playoff game, but Portland is such a monumental establishment, I think, in the NWSL. So I know a lot of people were looking forward to this game. This is probably I think the most even game of all of the playoff games. It seemed like these two teams really matched up well, and I watched a lot of these NWSL playoff games, and it was they were all pretty good. A lot of them went to like super late goals and stuff. So I had a feeling that just because all of those ones were good, this one might live up to that with just maybe some late goals or some interesting things happening. That regulation definitely a little bit of a I don't want to call it a slog, but just a real chess match just between two really good midfields.
Yeah, 100%. And we can see the starting lineup here for San Diego Wave. Not a lot of changes. We had Sheridan on goal, Hannah Lundspik at the right back, Wesley and McNabb paired at center back, Pro Moroni at the left back. We got Facer, Dali at the center mid position, Cascarino, Gia Corley, and Dudinha in the attacking front, and Kimi Ascanio up top. Any surprises here, Abe, that you saw? Anything that you said, wow, this is different? It's kind of like same old that we've seen from Wave. This is probably one of the best starting 11s that Jonas Eidevall could have put out there.
Yeah, definitely what he's become accustomed to, and I think you really have to like respect it at this point. He found his 11 and it's kind of stuck with it. I think if Savannah McCaskill wasn't injured, that would probably be the only change that I would make is putting Savannah McCaskill in for Facer just because she has a lot more experience. But Facer still had a pretty good game, and she was getting beat up pretty hard out there.
Yeah, I think again, like with some injuries, uh, this could have been a different outcome. But at the same time, for Portland, talk about Hospital FC. A lot of injuries from that side. Uh, and at the end of the day, it's still a very lethal side from Portland.
Oh yeah, with Olivia Moultrie and Sam Coffey in that midfield, it's lethal. I think is putting it nicely. They're so good.
We got Tony
I
back. Hi, Tony.
I think I was the only one that at some point this game thought that Wave was going to win, and I don't think you both said that you guys thought no, it wasn't going to happen, right?
No,
Yeah,
well, I said last week that I thought Wade would pull it off and they would go to the semifinals, and I was a little hopeful because uh, right before this you had Gotham beating Kansas City, a team that was a fortress, a team that like outscored everyone by so many goals, a team that won the Shield like 10 weeks before the season ended, and that was a big surprise, but at the same time, just shows the level of competitiveness between NWSL teams, where the number 8 seed can compete against the first seed and take them out in the quarterfinals. After seeing that, I think everyone kind of had like a chance, like, hey, I like Wave's chances.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean
I
even
think
Louisville took
yeah,
Washington Spirit to penalty kicks. That was quite a shock to me.
I think it was
yeah, no,
three of the four games went into extra time. Two of them went to penalties. Wave was one of those games, and unfortunately, wasn't the result. Not a lot of back and forth action. A lot of dangerous opportunities here uh, in the game. I mean, if I'm being honest, the highlight reel is only 3 minutes and 40 seconds long.
Yeah, I mean Kaylin Sheridan and she I think you kind of said something about her during this game, but she really didn't have much to do this entire game. Like I don't think if she did face a shot, it really wasn't like a strong one because Portland's shots were just ending up hitting the woodwork or just not even getting close at all. And I think it's a testament to Wave's defense. Like Hannah Lundqvist was putting in a shift this game. Pro Moroni too was getting pretty beat up here. And I mean, I think for the questions that we had for Wave's defense this year, being able to hold Portland scoreless at home for 90 minutes is quite an accomplishment that they should be proud of, and proud of looking forward into the future as well.
Yeah, and there were some moments in this game like this play right here that Wave had the chances, and they've had chances all season long. It's just they haven't been able to finish a lot of their plays and a lot of their shots, and that has been the struggle for this team. They get up there, they get to the box, they get there, and then the last shot just doesn't happen, or it's not a good shot. You have this bicycle kick here that at the end of the day, this is probably Sheridan's biggest test besides playing it out with their foot. And that's kind of like when I texted you guys and had a bit of a hot take saying, hey, like, I think maybe Wave could move on from Caitlin Sheridan in the near future. I think you disagree, Abe.
Yeah,
I think the way she's playing out the back is not. It's not. She makes a lot of mistakes that could cost Wave in the future, and maybe this is just me getting a little frustrated. But I think she does make a lot of mistakes, and her like ball distribution is not the best.
Yeah, I think that would be a fair take if they had like another option. Like with SanDiego FC, they have Pablo Cisniega and CJ, and they're both pretty solid options. I don't think you'd be too upset between either. But Didi Hericic, when she was with Angel City, has had plenty of moments where she just didn't really look great at like shot stopping, and like made easy stops look pretty hard. And I don't think we've ever seen enough from Didi Hericic. I think she played those 2 games this season, and it didn't look super. She didn't look super comfortable out there. And then Hillary Beale as well. I don't think she's starting goalkeeper material. So it's
not when she breaks her foot in the game.
I mean, she stopped the penalty kick in that game though at Toro Stadium. So
she sure did.
You gotta give her credit for that. But yeah, just overall, like I think you got to stick with Kayla Sheridan, even just for her leadership alone. She's the captain for a reason. Everyone respects her. She's been on this team for a really, really long time. So you have to keep Kayla Sheridan. But the big controversy of the game, what did you do you think that was like a huge controversy that should be the story of the game?
You mean the handball that wasn't called at the end?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it here. 100%. 100%. If you can remind me maybe what minute
I don't know if they put it in the
in the highlight.
No, they wouldn't.
Probably
They would
not.
never.
No, I would let me
wouldn't.
find it. You guys let Tony talk about it. I'll find it and pull it up for you.
Tony, welcome back. Yes,
Yeah,
let's talk about it. There was a play towards the end of the game that it was a cross from Cascarino that hits a defender's hand. It gets deflected into a corner kick, and it looked like the arm was extended out slightly, and it's a clear handball. Tony, tell us what you saw. Like, that should have been called, in your opinion?
Should have been a penalty. Should have been a penalty for sure. At least a VAR consideration. You know, and that's kind of the inconsistencies that we've been seeing so far in this league. And I am on a personal hotspot.
Look at that. Talk about joining remotely coming through. I think we're losing Tony again. Hi.
Okay, yeah, we're losing
Yeah,
Tony. All right,
we're losing Tony
I
again.
don't think they have the full game on NWSL Plus, but to me, I don't know if it's like a red card or not, just because that the natural position rule and all that stuff, it's really confusing to me, honestly. I prefer just not to like worry about it. Just handball. It's not like it's such a weird rule too. Like the game should be like, okay, handball hits the arm, handball, right? But technically she had it on her side, but it clearly hit her hand, right?
It's a handball. I've seen that being called 10 out of 10 times. And it's not a red card. It's not. There's no double punishment. Like, there should be a red card if you're gonna warrant a penalty. If you're gonna award a penalty, but the fact that it didn't even get checked through VAR,
like
to get called or to be reviewed. Like, what's the point of having VAR? I will say this: like, if they get a penalty and they miss it and they go to extra time and they lose 100%, then Wave drop that. But if they score that changes everything, and Wave would be playing a semifinal next weekend. Like that's how much of a decisive factor that call made for this team. Like there was a 60-70% chance that Wave scores that penalty. If it's Kentadali, maybe a 90% that she scores that penalty. And it was at such a late into the game that Wave would have just parked the bus and won that game. So I do think it's a big controversy. I think it's a disgrace on the league, on the referees to not even check or go to VAR to check that play, because at the end of the day, like that did cost Wave a semifinal spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would be more questioning of it if Jonas Eidevall actually said something about it in the post-game press conference, and him not wanting to get fined. Like, that might be like an ownership thing of them being so sick of like Casey Stoney getting fined. I think even Landon Donovan got fined at one point. Like, maybe that's why, and he has that directive from above. But if it was truly something that like you feel is like a disgrace to the game and completely changes how the season ends up, then he should have said something to the media when he was asked about it. That's
100%.
like like, because the whole no comment thing, like I get it, you're trying not to get fined, but if it's this is the story for so many different like people in San Diego, and thinking that's the reason why he lost, and you're not going to even address it. I think it's a failure on Jonas Eidevall for not talking about it, and it's a failure on the league for not letting their coaches talk about the games, and it hurts media, it hurts everyone. Honestly, that's how I feel about him not talking about it, and because now I just feel like I don't really have that much of an opinion on it. Like, it hit his hand, like hit her hand, they didn't call it, game goes on. Like pre VAR, I don't even, maybe this would have been less of a discussion just because like, oh, the ref missed it. Like I don't remember pre VAR discussions as much. I just remember because the camera footage usually wasn't as clear. But it's a tough situation.
100%. As we have Tony,
It's a tough situation.
Tony
But
from the phone.
they get paid to make these tough choices and decisions, and at least that's my thing. Go look at it, and
Yeah.
that's where
We all agree with that. Yeah,
it's a shame.
100%. And I mean, and then the game goes to extra time. Very early on into extra time, this play happens for Portland, and it's a typical Wave defending play where they miss a mark, and it's Pearl Moroni this time. It's a great cross, wide open player, and it's a goal. And I think at this point, you really do think, oh, classic Wave. Just poor defending on a cross, letting a wide open player get in there, and you kind of really do think it's going to be impossible for Wave to get one back here.
Yeah, it's even more like just exhausted defending than like poor defending.
Yeah.
Like, obviously in extra time, like you're gonna be dealing with these moments. And Olivia Moultrie too has just been such a great player for Portland, and she's gonna get into a dangerous position, and to let it happen that late was just, it's a tough moment for Wave. But I think they really, one goal in extra time isn't something to just be like, oh, the defense is completely horrible. Like things like that happen, especially in extra time of a playoff game.
100%, especially when a lot of your offensive weapons are also getting tired and you have to resort to, subbing on Trinity Byers, who had not played a single minute due to an injury. And she came on, and I personally, it was a kind of like a Hail Mary attempt from Jonas Eidevall to throw Trinity Byers on there. And I mean, from what I saw, she's fast. I think she has potential, but it is kind of like, I don't know what you thought about that substitution, guys. Like,
It's really bold, but it says a lot about Trinity Byers like throughout this season and her like rehabilitation and knowing the team and being like comfortable enough to come on in that moment, because like that's just sounds crazy to me. You're making your professional debut in like a playoff game at Providence Park, and then like Trinity Armstrong had one of I think that was probably the best shot of the extra time, right? That kick right at the goalkeeper, and that's probably why you keep Trinity Armstrong as your substitute. I thought maybe she might have helped a little bit offensively during the first 90, but to make that chance, that was a big moment. But
I think it's wild, Abe, that you have to resort to your center back subbing on as an attacking player. Like, what does that say about your depth? What does that say about any other weapons? Adriana Leon has been a disaster for Wave this season. She started off kind of good, and then she just completely fell off. But to rely on a 16-year-old center back to be at your striker role on a quarterfinals, to me, that nothing screams more than desperate and trying anything at this point.
So is that a failure on Jonas or a failure on Camille Ashton and the GM work that goes into this, right? Like Daniela Arias didn't see her really this entire season. You let Maria Sanchez go, and that was the moment that this team took some time to get back on and really get back on the winning side of things and on the confidence side of things after losing Maria Sanchez, not just on the field but as a locker room presence. I mean, these are general manager discussions that
I-
can be had and questions for Ashton, but
how
yeah, it's
different
not a good look when you're debuting players in a playoff situation that's do or die. Adriana Leon, non-factor this entire season at all. Like, just didn't move the needle at all offensively. I think Jaden Shaw did more at Snapdragon Stadium this season than Adriana Leon, more than likely. Obviously not, but just the hyperbole stance.
how different do you think this game is if Chiamaka and Melanie Vatsanas aren't injured?
I think it adds a little bit more of a firepower on those tired legs towards the end of the game. Like we've talked about, Melanie Barcenas coming on before, and she's a firecracker and she has that pace, and she's flashy. And I think that would have helped out a little bit more than a player that hasn't played all season due to an injury. I think Chiamaka adds a lot more pace and composure up on top, and again, then sorting to a center back that's also a rookie in your attacking front like that. To me, that's just wild to see.
Yeah, these are all just like what ifs, because obviously you get injured, you can't really do anything about that. But I mean, you have less injuries than Portland does. I mean, Portland was without Sophia Wilson this entire season, and Sophia Wilson obviously would have completely changed the game on Portland's end. Morgan Weaver too is out early on in the season, and I want to pull up this comment by Brad. Armstrong position at CB, press forward. She was in position at 9 all the time. She was in there. Yeah, it's Armstrong is such a unique player, especially late in games. Like there have been times where she gets pushed up to the 9, and I think they just are, especially when you need a goal. They don't really care about just throwing everybody up there, right? Like that's
Yeah.
what it seemed like at that point.
Yeah, no, and she scored goals. Like she's good. She finds herself in corner kicks, knowing where to be, and has good heading abilities. So I can see it too. But at the end of the day, like it just looked not the best for Wave, and I think not getting that handball kind of like brought the team down a little bit, and then that goal was just like that last punch at the end to like just demoralize the team. They kept fighting and they had opportunities, but it wasn't enough for Wave. And again, it's still a Wave team that is a big improvement from last season. This Wave team surprised everyone by making playoffs. It was a complete rebuild from last season. And at the end of the day, a lot of people, Abe, did not have this Wave team making quarterfinals, let alone competing and fighting to the last minute.
Yeah, I think I was like thinking about this morning. Like for some reason, I woke up and just had this thought as I was like eating breakfast. I was like, this is like a positive disappointment for as far as the wave season goes. Just because I don't think you can be disappointed that they made the play, like that they even made the playoffs. That's a huge improvement, and you got to be like excited about that. But they showed so much during the season, and they showed so much in that game that I think it's fair to be disappointed about how this all ended, just because like they have all the ingredients. Like I think for the future, the Wave are set up really, really well, and people can be disappointed about this game, but also looking ahead and saying this is a Wave team like that's structured in a really positive way. Just because like a couple of tweaks here and there, and I think this team can end up like top 2 in the league, honestly.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think we're only seeing the beginning of a new wave team, and we'll see what happens in the future. I think Jonas Eidevall stays for a little bit longer. We don't have much from post match to share with everyone, and we will share kind of like some frustrations. Is that after a quarterfinal game, after an important game and a loss like this, uh, it was a little disappointing having to hear from a rookie that played a few minutes that had never played. They gave us Trinity Byers and Abe. You were in that press conference, and I know it's hard to get a rookie that hasn't talked at all to media all season. These are games that you expect to hear from leaders like Kaylin Sheridan, Ken Sadali, even Cascarino, even Kennedy Wesley at this
Chris
point,
McNabb,
like
yeah.
Kristen McNabb, like experienced players that have worn the captain armband for Wave, and to not get any of them is disappointing. And I hope that changes in the future. Uh, I understand that it's a tough loss and people get sentimental, but at the end of the day, you're a professional soccer player, and I would hope a lot of those leaders step up to talk to media and answer questions at the end of the day, because that's part of the job, and I feel for them. But again, like it's been a repeating factor for Wave, where even last season we wouldn't hear from Alex Morgan, Dahlkemper, or other players as well. Abe, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this.
Yeah, I don't know how much that type of decision is on them versus like Wave PR, but just it is quite frustrating as media, and just I think any of those players would have had some important things to say. Like it's not like we are like just gonna be like criticizing them or like throwing jabs, but I think it's fair for them to answer tough questions, and the tough questions they probably have from themselves and are having with each other in the locker room, because it's those type of things are the things that I feel like people remember for really long time. Really, a really long time is like how do you deal with such like tough moments, especially from like the leaders in the group? What would they say about this? And not being able to hear that it was kind of frustrating. I know I didn't get to ask the question to Trinity Byers. My mic was messed up, so I didn't get to ask a question to Jonas Eidevall. But it really didn't have a question for Trinity Byers. Like you're coming on as a pro and you're for your first game. Like obviously it's a big deal, and I think it's an interesting story, but like
It's not the time to throw her on to talk to media after a quarterfinal loss and being eliminated from playoffs. So
like it's like she has a big moment. I think that's important for Trinity Byers personally. Like that's a big moment for her. I'm glad she got to experience that. Like that's got to be something she'll probably like. I think like years later, it'll be like, oh, when did Trinity Byers get a pro debut? Like in a playoff game against Portland? That's crazy, But like, what does she have to say about the entirety of the Wave season and what the future looks like? Like, I'm not sure that's the right choice there. But we did get some interesting answers from Jonas Eidevall. I thought that he was pretty surprisingly like neutral to it all. I feel like a lot of the times with the end of season press conferences or coaches it'll be pretty like sad and like a little bit emotional, sentimental about the season, but he was pretty neutral and seemed to be like looking forward to the future for the Wave.
Yeah, I let me pull it up, see if we can hear a little bit from Jonas Eidevall. It's right here.
There we go.
You guys for sticking around. We're gonna start with Austin from the Tribune in the room here, and we'll head online. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the first 80-some minutes, I really felt like y'all controlled it. Just wondering what kind of changed in regulation there and then overtime.
What was the
What
question?
kind of changed in those last 10 minutes?
No, I think it obviously it's a little bit of fatigue coming into the game. I think it comes to a more open game from there. I think that's more beneficial for Portland, and obviously the goal comes from one of these moments where it's a transition moment. Moultrie is very good in this moment. It's a great cross, but I think we can defend that better, and I think we also can be for two things. I think we should have been able to create more goal scoring opportunities before that and put the game to bed. But then, of course, this is a learning point for us that we need to control these moments better when we are starting to get more tired. We other teams too.
You know, as you look back at the whole season, just what do you kind of like from the growth of this team? And how a lot of new parts, yourself, what have you kind of seen the whole team?
Well, I think the game was a quite good measure point of the growth. I think you see a team coming to Portland, which is probably one of the more difficult places to come and play. And I think we play brave, we play through their pressure, we create a lot of exciting attacking moments where I think we should create more from.
Okay, at the end of the day, we've heard Jonas give us the same answers where he feels like they fought and they put a great game, but at the end of the day, it wasn't enough for this one. You could tell that he was a little like devastated from this loss.
Yeah,
And this was, let me try to see if I find
Tony's question.
the Tony's question or the handball question as well. But just what were your overall impressions just hearing Jonas in this last press conference?
Yeah, like you said, it is a little bit more of the same. I do tend to, but he was a little bit more saying like you need to create more of these like scoring chances. Obviously, it's same old, but they had a lot less than they usually do in this game, and I think you probably put that on probably Kimi Escanio and Adriana Leon the most, right? Like they're players that should probably be able to like bring the ball up or get open in those tough areas. So obviously a coach is never going to call out specific players, but that's probably who he's kind of like alluding to there. So it's just, I don't really know what a coach is going to say. Obviously sometimes he has like really insightful things and talks about like interesting metaphors and all that, but he didn't really have much of that for this game.
Yeah, this was Jonas Eidevall getting asked about the handball.
And lastly, for me, what did you see on the potential handball towards the end of regulation?
Trying to get into trouble. No, I can't comment on that.
Dan Miletto.
Again, so I think Abe, you're right. I think they might be letting him know, like, don't answer any questions about referee decisions because they're not trying to get fined. Which kind of sucks because I would love to hear him pop off and say, yeah, the ref screwed us over. The ref cost us this. This ref cost us a semifinal. To not check it in VAR is complete bullshit. I feel like that's something that we would have heard from Mike Ibarras or even Casey Stoney, Landon Donovan. Paul Buckle would have popped off probably. But yeah.
When your season ends like that, you can't know I'm
exactly.
sorry. Like,
yeah, you can't.
If this is the regular season, yeah, he did. He did no comment multiple times during the regular season. But at the in I think that's just unfortunate out of that's probably the NWS. I blame the coaches, but also the leagues kind of create this atmosphere where it's you can't criticize referees. No matter what, even if they make a horrible call like that, it's just it's on the coaches, but it's also on the league.
Yeah, it sometimes feels like in this league it's frowned upon to criticize anything, and at the end of the day, everything's supposed to be fine and dandy, and that's not the case. That's not the case with soccer, and I refuse to fall into that category. And I promise, and I've always kept this promise to all of our listeners, where we're gonna criticize where there needs to be criticism towards any soccer team here in San Diego. We do it as well for San Diego Inter when they have a terrible game live on the air, and that's something that we pride ourselves here at SanDiego.Futbol, where we're always going to be honest and fair, and we're going to give praise when praise is due. And at the end of the day, this was a tough way to end the season, but it's also a very positive future for San Diego Wave. Abe, I don't know if there's anything else for San Diego Wave you want to add.
Maybe we could talk. I think maybe next week, because we're gonna have a lot to talk about because there's neither team's playing, right? So
yeah, next week we're gonna be doing season grades for San Diego Wave.
Yeah, I submitted our ballot as media for NWSL awards. As far as Wave people go, I think Delphine Cascarino, Kenza Dali were the only ones that ended up in the ballot. I was considering Trinity Armstrong in a Rookie of the Year. Actually, I think I did put Trinity Armstrong Rookie of the Year, but I wouldn't vote her as the actual Rookie of the Year. I'd probably give that to Lily Real. She had a really, really strong season for Gotham, so but the nomination does matter. So yeah, Trinity Armstrong, Kenza Dali for midfielder of the year, and then Delphine Cascarino for potential MVP. Still probably wouldn't give it to Delphine because she kind of fell off a little bit, and Temwa Chowinga had a really amazing season. Midfielder of the year,
Kenza Dali has a good chance.
Seeing the reaction online, it seems like a lot of people really, really want to give her that award.
Yeah,
there's so many different great midfielders. I still don't know who exactly I would put in number one. Kenza Dali might deserve it though.
When you talk about impact, there's no denying the impact she made on her first season as a Wave player. She legit put this team on her back and carried this team through so many difficult matches that I wouldn't be upset if I see her winning it. I agree. There's other midfielders from teams that are even still in playoffs that are deserving of the award. I think what's something interesting that I know the commentary team pointed out is that the 4 teams that are in the semifinals are the last 4 champions.
Yeah,
which is insane considering that Kansas City is so good this season. Very different team without Chowinga. So yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, next week we're gonna go ahead.
I think. Do you have a team that I think you're most looking forward to watching for the rest of the NWSL playoffs?
Let's go, Jaden Shaw. Why not win it?
I think Orlando could be a really interesting story. Ovalle and Marta, dude. There was Marta has been replying to people's tweets today. Apparently, Attacking Third had a segment and they kind of just said oh yeah, Orlando screwed that Gotham's gonna completely destroy them. And they said oh yeah, Orlando has 1 star and Gotham has a bunch, and Marta literally just completely went off on Twitter, called out this former player turned commentator, was I don't listen to average players for soccer opinions, was going crazy. And then so Marta is just obviously one of the GOATs. That's probably who I'm leaning towards watching for the rest of this playoffs. But yeah, overall NWSL coverage. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about other picks for the ballot. But
I've always been curious of why Kenza hasn't gotten called up for the national. I don't know if she retired from the national team or there's just way better midfielders that play overseas. But we'll try to get some info on that. But yeah, next week we're gonna be doing our end of season grades for San Diego Wave. Tony and I are also going to be playing a instead of doing a penalty shootout, Abe, since physically I shouldn't be recorded or being able to do a lot of movement or anything like that, Tony and I decided we're going to be doing a EAFC match of Wave versus Wave live. Probably maybe not next week if we do our podcast from Snapdragon for SDFC match, unless
It's
we
not
do
next week, right? That's on the.
Oh, that's
24th.
right. It's on the 24th. Never mind. Next week, we're going to be doing an EAFC match, Wave versus Wave, to see who has to serve a wave as punishment for our predictions. But again, this has been Two Balls in a Mic, episode 302. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Miguel and Vanessa, for doing their Frontera San Diego State of the Union. And shout out to Tony for not paying the internet bill. I knew there was a reason. Abe, I knew you knew there was a reason we should have done remotely today. And I think it paid off. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We're going to be signing out and see you all next week.
Have a good night, guys.